Okay, this is going to be my video covering the ICE shooting in Minneapolis late last week. Now, I and Combat Cameraman were planning on setting up a terrain model and laying everything out step by step as it happened, but he was not able to get his schedule changed to allow that to occur. This week we're on competing schedules. I work when he's off, he works when I'm off. So I'm going to have to make do here and just draw it out. So the situation. I'm going to go off of clock method here. There's the roadway. The top of the sheet is the direction that the ICE team was going. So we know from looking at multiple videos, this woman parked her SUV across the roadway impeding traffic. I'm not going to say the woman's name. I'm going to do like Mark Dice. I'm going to refer to her as Georgina Floyd, because the left is trying to turn her into this giant martyr. They're talking about they want George Floyd riots up in the Twin Cities. On the right hand side here, there was parked vehicles. And it looked like one farther up here, and we know there's a minivan up here. She's parked across, blocking traffic. She's honking her horn. You have the ICE vehicles are in this lane here, trying to move forward. She keeps blocking the path so they can't get through. She waves through vehicles that are not ICE. She allows them to go past. She moves back and forth based on what vehicle moves forward. There is a minivan stopped farther up with their four-way flashers on at the 12 o'clock position. I have a feeling that was the lead vehicle for the ICE element. And then their main body was back here. Eventually, one of the ICE SUVs is able to pull around and parks here at about the 1 o'clock position. ICE pickup moves forward here, just short, still on this side. This side is now completely blocked off. She's moved forward to the point where not even civilian traffic can get through over here. There is at least one ICE agent on the ground who is walking forward. He dismounted from farther back in the convoy. He's already on the ground, moving up, assessing the situation. Now, I did watch a few different videos. One from the 3 o'clock here, and that is by the Bull Dyke lesbian lover of the driver. I did see a video from the officer who is in this lead vehicle. There is also a video from farther up, past the 1 o'clock, between the 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock up in here, from someone's house that got shot, and it looked like it was through a screen, either the screen door or a screen through a window. So we got a video up here at the 1 o'clock. And then we also have another video from over here at almost the 9 o'clock position. Now, going off of the 3 o'clock video, over where the Bull Dyke lesbian was, what you see there is two officers dismount the pickup truck. One moves around like this, one moves like this. This guy comes up to the driver's position as both of them are approaching. At this point, each of the ICE vehicles has their sirens on and they had their flashers on. Each of these ICE officers has body armor on that says police on it. As they are approaching, they tell her to get out of the vehicle. Get out now. They say it multiple times. She doesn't do it. When they start accessing the vehicle here, according to this video, that is when she steps on the gas, and an officer that you can't see from this position is located up here in front. He came out of this vehicle. She almost hits him. He opens fires, puts 3 shots into the vehicle. First one is straight through the windshield. Next one comes through right here near the panel between the windshield and the door, through that column. And the next shot is through the door. That's all you see from this position. That is the footage that the media runs. Now, after this came out, that's when this footage came out from the 1 o'clock position. From the 1 o'clock position, you can clearly see the officer is directly in front of the vehicle, about 1 arm's length in front of the vehicle. When she backs up, stomps on the gas. Now, this one from the officer here. This one came out after this video within about, say, 12 hours. This is the cell phone video from this officer. It looks like it was a hack job. Someone broke into his phone and downloaded the video. This was not released by Homeland Security or Border Patrol. It was gotten a hold of by a reporter, and then the reporter posted it raw online. In that video, it starts with him up here. You can hear her honking. You can hear the sirens back here. You see the side of her vehicle. He gets out. He has his camera on, and he starts doing a 360, assessing the situation. He's checking the number of people inside. You can see there is a driver and a dog in the back here. He comes around the front, goes around. He videotapes her. And she's being really mouthy to him. She's smirking and all kinds of stuff, just short of laughing in his face, making fun of him. He comes around, comes up to the back. When he gets to the back of the vehicle, he gets a picture of the plate. It is not a Minnesota plate. It looks like it's from out of state. Combat cameraman said that he had heard it sounded like this couple was out of Wisconsin. I don't know, but it was not a Minnesota plate. That's all I know for certain, looking at it. Now, once he gets to the back here, that's when the Bull Dyke lesbian moves forward with her camera. She starts mouthing off to him and stuff, saying that that's our license plate. It'll still be on there when you come visit us later. So that tells me there was no intention of escalating. They were just there to block, and they thought they would get a visit later in the day. He continues around the vehicle. Fat Bull Dyke lesbian follows with him, continuing to taunt him, and then she starts saying, oh, she's a veteran, she's a U.S. citizen, blah, blah, blah. He comes around the front. As he's coming around the front, you can hear in the video that these officers are now on the side of the vehicle here, ordering her to get out. One of them is trying to get in, but you do not see that from this angle. He gets up to this position here. Once he's at this position, you can see in his video, she is not looking at him at all. She is not panicking. You can see that in the video. She still has that smirk on her face and all that stuff, and she's basically taunting these two officers here. She starts backing up as this officer's reaching inside, and then she guns it. When she guns it forward, putting it in drive, he's directly in front of the tire here, right in front of the driver. He's within arm's length of the vehicle. That is when he opens fire and that first shot comes straight through the windshield, hits her in the head. Second shot through as she's pulling, going like this. Second shot hits that column, and that one is the one I think also hits her in the head. This third shot, I got a feeling, was a through and through. It didn't hit anything. And then after the vehicle gets to about this point here, it's really clear the driver is dead. It then drives forward and slams into a minivan. Now, when this video came out, a lot of people said, oh, this is AI, this isn't real, it's false, it was a murder, you know, he wasn't in front of the vehicle because we didn't see it on the 3 o'clock position video. This video dropped, I think it was late Friday, early Saturday, from the 9 o'clock. This is someone recording with their phone from a house over here. In this video, it starts about 3 minutes before this incident happens. So the person here with their dog in the house, their dog is freaking out because of the sirens and the honking and everything. You can see her blocking traffic. You can see her letting people through except the ICE vehicles. The ICE vehicles move forward. When she lets a vehicle pass here, she pulls forward again. Well, that's when this SUV shot around behind her before she noticed, because she was focusing on moving forward, watching these guys back here. He was moving off to the side, shot around, and got up here. In this video here, that's where you can see you have an ICE officer. He's dismounted and walking forward as these vehicles are moving up. After he gets, you can see from the 9 o'clock video, you see the officer get out from here, do his circuit around the vehicle as these guys are approaching from the pickup truck. When they're on side, and video stops shortly right before the first shot is fired. But you can see in that video, he is right here. He is focused on her with the cell phone camera. And you can see her shoot forward and almost hit him. Or actually does hit him. It sounds like he was hit in the hip. He was injured, but not seriously, not serious enough that he required hospitalization, is the reports that are out there. Now, there's a couple details people missed looking at the video. First off, when she guns the vehicle going forward, she is not looking at him at all. She is focusing on the officer that's reaching inside her window. She could be reacting to that officer. Was she panicking? No. You can tell that from his video. He is not packing. She is still smirking and that stuff. I think she was basically laughing that, hey, I'm going to play cat and mouse. I'm going to get out of his reach, move up ahead and do the same thing. Now, when the officer gets up to here, fat bull dyke lesbian, she tries getting in on the passenger side, but the doors are locked. She locked the doors because of the approaching ICE officers over here. She could not get inside. When the vehicle backs up, bull dyke lesbian starts yelling out to her lover, "Drive, drive, drive!" And that's when she slams it into forward, almost hits the officer, fucks around, finds out, and catches a couple hot loads to the face. Now, someone did notice on the 3 o'clock position video from over here, something that most people missed. You do see that going off the totality of these other angles, when this officer is directly in front of it, of the vehicle, mid-line, before he even gets to this corner, She is backing up. She slams it into drive. She guns it. You can see her tires are spinning on the ice as she's moving, trying to move forward, and he is directly in the midline of the vehicle. The only reason he is alive is because the tires were spinning. And the tires eventually catch purchase, they catch grip. When she tilts it just a little bit to get past the ice patch, he is in line with the tire. He gets hit, bounces off. So, total time from when she puts it into drive and the first shot rings out is less than 1 second. And then he unloads all 3 shots into the driver. Now, I am not a legal expert, but I have watched a few videos from police officers and that stuff on this situation. And they say that according to the way the courts have ruled in the past, it will be determined by what was his mindset at that moment. Did he fear for his life? Well, he's directly in front of an SUV that is moving for him at the fullest speed possible as she's trying to jump off. Do you think he is in fear of his life of getting run over as she's gunning it, aiming it basically right at him? I think he is. So if you take that into consideration, then this is a justified shooting. But there will be the question of, she is focused on this officer here. She is not looking at him when she starts moving forward. So then what was her intent? Was her intent to run him over? But it still comes down to, was he in fear of his life? And yes, he was. This same officer, it has been reported, has been hit and dragged during one of these raids within 6 months. Previous, up in the Twin Cities, he was on a raid where they were going after a drug dealer and money launderer, and apparently he was rammed by a vehicle. His clothing got caught on the vehicle and he was dragged for about 100 meters, it sounded like. So he knew what the consequences is from getting hit. Now, there is some things to note for the people that say this is a murder. None of these officers in any of the videos has their weapons drawn as they're approaching the vehicle. They do not draw their weapons until she starts putting it into reverse and then immediately puts it in a drive. That is when they draw their weapons. And the only one that fires is this one, who's directly in front of the vehicle. Take with it what you will. Now, there is an FBI team that is investigating the situation. The state of Minnesota is flipping out that they should be involved in the situation. According to law enforcement members that are doing videos on this, because it happened to a federal officer, a member of Border Patrol, and they were executing a court order, not a warrant, a court order, a order from the judge, go detain this person and deport them immediately. This is a federal case. This is not a state case. If the state wants to do their own investigation, they can, but they cannot be part of the federal case where they could potentially interfere with the investigation. I have a feeling that is the main reason the state of Minnesota is trying to get their people, as they call them, experts, on the investigation, is they want to interfere with it. They want to mess up the evidence so that he gets found guilty, she gets exonerated. Now, that's the situation. How does this affect us? Not long after this was announced, and it happened while I was at work, so I got all the stuff when I got off of work. I was going to meet up with Combat Cameraman. We were going to do videos. That is when we both seen the news that, hey, this happened today. We talked about it. We decided to hold off on the video we were going to do, and let's get as much info on this as possible. So after this situation, Governor Walz of Minnesota held his own press conference right away. He said that ICE murdered this woman. He said he was officially putting the National Guard on a warning order for mobilization to fight the federal government. He is literally calling for insurrection. By every definition of the Insurrection Act, he is in insurrection against the federal government. He can be detained. He can be arrested this very minute. Even without him actually having the troops mobilized right now, he is in insurrection because he is calling for the state of Minnesota to go to war against the federal government. After that, the very next day, he doubled down on Friday, saying that Minnesota is at war with the U.S. federal government. Because he was questioned about, well, are you changing your statement from the day before? We're 24 hours later. You know, have you examined the details more? Do you want to amend your statement? And he said, no, Minnesota is at war with the federal government. I have not heard from any of my relatives up in Minnesota if there have been any mobilizations of the National Guard yet. I have not heard anything from any of my cousins who are still in the National Guard if their units have gotten a mobilization order yet. So for right now, no troops have been mobilized on the state level for Minnesota. It's just Walz talking shit. Now, Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis, this is the same dickhead that was in charge of the city during the George Floyd bullshit, just like Tim Walz was the governor during the George Floyd bullshit. Jacob Frey of Minneapolis, he's told the day it happened last Thursday that ICE needs to get the fuck out of Minneapolis, out of Minnesota, that they murdered this woman. It was not self-defense. Now, over this last weekend, over the past few days here, Jacob Frey has been interviewed on this stuff by different news shows. He has not changed his tone other than to get more militant. Jacob Frey of New York, Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, is telling the people of Minneapolis right now, he's been said at multiple news shows, the people of Minneapolis need to arm up immediately and fight ICE agents, need to fight federal law enforcement, because the only reason they are there is to commit crimes. They're not there to stop crimes. The people of Minneapolis need to defend themselves against the ICE agents, need to go after them. So we have two officials here, the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota. Both are calling for insurrection. Both of them should be arrested immediately. But I guarantee they won't be, because I really have a feeling this whole thing is scripted out. I'm not saying this did not happen. This is something that they've been trying to build up for, trying to make happen for months, because the same people, Governor Walz, Frey, and then a bunch of other members of Congress, governors, mayors, have been telling their people to deliberately get in situations like this with ICE because they want this to happen. They have been waiting for a federal officer to shoot one of these agitators. They finally got the event that they wanted. Once that occurred, that's when they pulled out their next steps in the playbook, which is quote unquote, the governors and the mayors resisting the tyrannical federal government. So we're at that stage in the script. The next script, part of the script after this, will be shots fired. The question is, who is the one that's supposed to do these shots fired? Is it going to be a leftist group? Is it going to be some type of state element or a local city government element that's going to be opening fire on ICE agents? So this is going to escalate. This is all scripted out. And the ultimate goal of it is civil war. Alex Jones, whether you like him or not, he has been warning about this since before January, that from what he was hearing, the left was trying to set up a situation like this where something happens to an anti-ICE protester that then the states can use as justification to secede from the union and go to war against Trump's federal government. Alex Jones has been warning about this for over a year. Now the situation has happened. Now, anti-ICE protesters in the Twin Cities starting that day have been rioting, not protesting, rioting. They have been attacking ICE vehicles, throwing rocks and bricks at them. I bet you're not hearing about that in the news. They have also been attacking motels and hotels where reportedly the federal officers are staying at. They're showing up at these hotels. The media just shows them outside making noise, trying to keep them from falling asleep. What the media is not showing you is that these protesters are attacking the hotels. They're smashing windows, smashing doors, trying to get inside to attack the officers in their rooms. Now, we also have people online right now, which I'm willing to bet these are NSA people. They are posting in social media that these leftists need to start showing up armed and they need to start killing federal agents. Over on the Patriot side, we are seeing the same thing. We are seeing posts going out there right now saying patriots need to arm up and start killing commies, these protesters, these agitators. That is an operation that is being done by the federal government, being done by the FBI, by the NSA, trying to instigate it, trying to get it to that next level. So don't fall for it. I actually seen a posting yesterday where someone was making fun of militias and the Patriots, saying that, oh, did everyone see the Patriots arming up, jumping in their pickup trucks and driving up to Minnesota to protect the poor defenseless civilians up there? No, I haven't either. That shows how worthless they are. So we're seeing a huge propaganda campaign going on right now. So what do I think the result is going to be over this? Do I think it will result in a civil war? I'd say right now we have at least a 75% chance. Because this is all according to a script. They're going to take whatever happens, fit it into that part of the script, and then have their next, written out steps to follow to get the situation that they want, which is a civil war. Now, I have talked to some people I know about this, and I've talked to Combat Cameraman about this. I am not surprised this is happening in Minnesota. Some of the more worst of the radicalism, especially in the left, seems to be up in Minnesota. So this happening there is not a surprise. I figured if a conflict did kick off, it'd probably be in Minnesota because of agents coming after patriots in Minnesota. And the patriots are saying, fuck it, let's get it on. Or in this situation, we have leftists fighting the federal government up in Minnesota. So I'm not really surprised on that. I've seen a lot of radicalization going on up there. I've heard about it. So, what should you do? You're probably asking that question. Well, what should you do right now? Same guidance as I've given before. Stock up on food, water, basic materials to stay alive. Check over your plans. Look over your bug out bags. Check those cans of gas that you have for doing an emergency bug out. Rotate it as needed. I know it's winter time, it's winter blend fuel. That's not the best to do for your emergency fuel. But if you got to rotate your cans, you've been putting it off, do it now. Get your stuff in order, because when this stuff goes from just riots and protests into shots being fired and states are talking about secession, it's going to go fast. And when that starts happening, the normie is going to be rushing to Walmart to buy cases of water and toilet paper. We've seen this before in 2020. They're going to do it again. So you need to get your supplies now. Don't put it off. Get it now. Don't put yourself in debt doing it, but start getting extra, setting it to the side. Don't touch it. Have that pantry, that closet, that dry place in the basement to have your totes. You're putting the stuff in there, setting it to the side so that when the supply chains get disrupted because of, hey, this state border's now an international border, trucks aren't allowed to cross it, the supply chain will be thrown into complete disarray. Stores will be emptied for at least a week. The supply trucks will not be able to get through. Get your stuff now. Patriots, once again, look into what groups are in your area. What leftist groups are in your area. How are they equipped? How many people? The same stuff like I've told you before. I gave a warning a few weeks ago about the left was planning to do a terrorism campaign. How much you want to bet the terrorist campaign can get tied into this stuff pretty goddamn easy? What's your bet that a leftist group that doesn't care about human life sets off an IED in a group of protesters to be blamed on right-wing militias by the media? How much you want to bet a crazed leftist tranny will dress up looking like a patriot, come out and start shooting people at a protest and then run away, and doesn't give a shit about the people that die because it's for the cause? You have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I've heard that crap from them quite a bit. Expect we're going to see a false flag coming up here. Possibly an IED. Most likely, though, it's going to be some type of shooting, and that's going to be the next little line in the script. The leftists are taunting ICE bad. I've seen some video footage last night after I got off of work because I did a shift yesterday. Leftists are up in the Twin Cities and in other states. They're blocking in ICE vehicles, trying to taunt them, trying to get a response. There is videos of them following ICE vehicles as they're on the way, executing court orders, not warrants to appear in court. Court orders issued by a judge. Court orders stating that ICE is required to go out, arrest people because of violating the law, and deport them. That is what these guys were doing. That is what Kristi Noem said their mission was that day. She didn't say who they were going out to arrest. She said they were going out to execute a court order. That is what the head of Border Patrol has been pointing out too. These ICE agents are going out enforcing orders from judges to arrest people and deport them. There's not a warrant issued to get the person and get them to appear in a court. No, the court case has already been held. The person did not show up. The judge said they're in violation, they're breaking the law, deport them right now. But the ICE agents, there's footage of them being followed by convoys of these leftist groups. And these leftists, as they're following the ICE agents, they're on the phone calling people further ahead to set up roadblocks to block them. And they're honking their horns as much as they can to give those people warning that, hey, we're this far out. We're almost there. Get ready to do this. Okay, these ICE agents are getting out. They're telling these people that are following them, hey, if you keep following us, you keep honking your horn, you're impeding a federal law enforcement operation, you will be arrested. And guess what? This has happened a couple times now. I'd actually seen a video this morning of that happening. A couple people getting arrested up in Minneapolis yesterday. They were given multiple warnings to stop what they were doing. They didn't do it. Federal agents got out, broke the windows on the vehicle because they refused to get out of the vehicle, had the windows up, doors locked. They broke the windows, pulled them out of the vehicle, put them in cuffs. And then the vehicle was turned over to Minneapolis Police Department. So, you may be wondering who is financing the stuff going on up in Minneapolis right now. Okay, it looks like Indivisible Twin Cities is the ones that are financing the riots that are going on right now and the protests. The groups that are primarily involved in the operations going on, like blocking the ICE agents, is a group called ICE Watch. Some people are saying it's Antifa. No, this is being done by a group called ICE Watch. The agitators, which are showing up doing rioting and that stuff, buses have been seen coming into the Twin Cities from out of state, bringing in protesters from out of state. This is not an organic situation, regardless of what Tim Walz says. The state of Minnesota does not support him, does not support what's going on against the ICE agents. The only people that do back him are the people that live in the Twin Cities. That is why the militia is not responding to this situation, because it's enemy territory. They want to tear up their own shit. They want to burn it down. Let them. The militia is waiting on the edges that if they try coming out of the Twin Cities, something might happen then. But as long as they keep dirtying their own nest, the militia says, fine, do it. For those of you that aren't aware of this, you're not from Minnesota. I grew up there before I joined the Army, so I know about this stuff, and I still have family up in Minnesota. The Twin Cities doesn't even consider itself part of Minnesota. They think they're their own little fucking world. It's when you cross from the Twin Cities into what's referred to as Greater Minnesota, and you move from Greater Minnesota into the Twin Cities, it's like you're crossing an international border. Okay, it's two completely different worlds. The majority of Minnesota does not support what's going on here. It's only the idiots in the Twin Cities, those leftists. People always complain about Minnesota being a liberal state. Minnesota is not a liberal state. Minnesota government is liberal because of the idiots in the Twin Cities, because they make sure that they always have more power than the rest of the state. So we're seeing some of the worst of the rioting that is going on. Word is, because I seen a few videos on this over the weekend, the worst of the rioting, the attacking of the hotels and stuff, is being organized by the Minnesota Communist Party. Yes, it is a real thing. The Minnesota Communist Party is actually doing the rioting. It is not Antifa. Two separate organizations, but both of them with similar goals. Money financing this stuff is coming through Indivisible. Rioters are being bussed in. This is not, 100% local people from the Twin Cities. And you're wondering, are the rioters and the protesters being paid? Yes! there is video footage of that, of reporters talking to the protesters, asking them, are you getting paid to do this? And they say yes, they are being paid to do this. This is not an organic situation. This is a setup to follow a script, with the ultimate final act being a civil war started in the Twin Cities. So I've given you the information we've been able to gather. So I was going to do a terrain model on this. We were going to write it out on the whiteboard, but, you know, combat cameraman couldn't come in to help out with that, so I had to make do. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure to keep your fuel topped off inside your vehicles. Make sure you are stocking up on food and water and medical supplies and anything else that you need to survive a minimum of 2 weeks with no supply chain. It will probably take over a week before, once things would really go kinetic, we start getting into this secession bullshit. It'll take at least a week for the trucks to make it to the stores, and it'll take at least a week minimum for the supply chain to actually get the stores fully stocked. And when they do get fully stocked, the prices will be double, triple, or quadruple what they were before secession started going into effect. So there you go. Some recommendations on what to do. Basically, same. Keep stocking up. Keep your head on a swivel. Monitor this situation. Once we start getting into actual shots being fired, things will start moving quickly. So plan accordingly. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, and for all my Patriot brothers definitely up in Minnesota right now, always remember, essayons, let us try.